All right, so here's another C sharp assignment, and I'm gonna go through it. And this time it was for installer files and how to make, an MSI and a .exe, but mostly it's focused on the MSI. They're done in the same thing anyway, and it's relatively simple. So you need to install the extension, and you update stuff. That's pretty self-explanatory, I feel though. And then you add another project to your solution, which is this, it's an installer project, and then you'll get a window similar to this, but with nothing in it. And uh, I'm going a little bit out of order here, but one thing I want to mention is that I didn't do this, but you can change your default company name here, and the what this does is this changes, it probably changes the exe as well, but the most noticeable thing that it will change is it changes the folder that this is in. So it'll be like, uh, you know what? I'm gonna change it. I'm just gonna do Jeremy, a company, and I'll have to rebuild, but that's fine. And I'm just gonna do this too. No, why not? I'm talking about it, may as well show it working. Uh, so yeah, you get this, and uh, two things that you need to add are the system net .net .http. Uh, in some situations, you probably wouldn't need to install this, but there's like a link to an external website on this. So for this project, that's something you need. And then you need output, and the way you add these. I guess I'm doing this kind of tutorial way, but this is kind of a light assignment, so to me this makes the most sense to explain it. So you add assembly is for the system, and then file or not file, sorry. Add project output, and I forget what it was named, but it's actually helping a classmate with this. Primary output didn't work for them; it just did the DDL file or DLL file. And there's another one above this on theirs that wasn't on mine that did the exe and the DLL file, and it's a different one from this, like an output DLL. But anyway, those are like the two things that you kind of have to have. Then this icon, it's never in this scenario. It's never used on its own. It's used for the shortcut. So obviously, I put the shortcut in the desktop. That makes the most sense. Uh, and you've changed the properties down here to the icon. So the icon is never really used on itself. It's used by itself. Uh, it it also is used so when you're running the program, it has like a you can't see my start bar on here, but it'll have like the icon on the start bar and all that kind of stuff. Then these are external things, so the images and the face help CHM. It does see I have the project output here, but it doesn't automatically understand that hey you, these are needed for the project, so you have to add them manually, and you can just do that by like dragging from here. But because I put them in this way, I do have a relative path in my code, meaning that, uh, the path is relative to where the project is. But having it in here still changes that relative path. So regardless if you have a solid, I forget the name, but hard-coded path or a relative path, you're probably gonna have to change it either way because I'll show it here. Originally, oh, that's not what I wanted to show. Originally, so I have these. This is just the info that's saved as well. That's not really too important because it's a file that's created, not loaded from. But see, these originally they had this, which means go two directories up and then look for face help. So, but actually building it changes that. So see, these are all in the same directory. So that's why these are no longer going two paths up because this is the .exe would be created in the same directory as images. So it doesn't have to go two directories up to look for the images folder basically. So I think that's it for actually explaining this. So next is to install it, and you can do it here can do, obviously you can build it, which I'm going to rebuild it. Well, there's a rebuild button, build, rebuild. Uh, just see that all, that was just so I could have the name in there. But you can install it and uninstall it from here, but I'm gonna do it from the folder that's on my other screen there. And it's in the debug. And you can use MSI or exe. I'll just use the MSI, and I'm just gonna install. And you get this basically a template installer, and it's gonna be in there. See Jeremy Company now, it's changed to that. And then I'm just gonna do next. I'm gonna do next, and I'm gonna say yes. Yeah, on mine it did a black screen for a second there when I was asking for permissions, but you're installing something into the program files. Obviously, it's going to need the permissions, but that's installed now. So obviously, I can go into the folder, and I will in a second, but I'm going to run it from the shortcut first. Uh, and I want to talk about that in a second too. Close this. So see here, I just did like a random image I had on my computer. So this is the shortcut because you can see it does left justified. So it's going to find the first open space to make it. So that's why it's here. And I'm just going to double click this and see it runs. It's literally the same as the debug version. It's just, I'm just going to do this. I did the tab version. Technically, we didn't have to, but see, I can do this. And I'm gonna do this to actually save. Oh, okay. So it doesn't have access to that. That's fine. You would need to change the permissions for this. Technically, we didn't have to do it for this, so that's something I'll probably turn this in, not having fixed that yet, but I'm probably gonna mess around with that to fix it because I'm gonna, you can see it's error saving file because it doesn't have access. This is a permission error. So I'm gonna look into that. That's didn't really think about that. I kind of just assumed, but that is creating a file, which is a much bigger deal than just reading from files included in this project. So that makes sense, and like I said, I'm gonna mess around with that. But as is, it's fine. So random. So yeah, this all works other than that, which is that technically didn't have to put that in there, but it's something that I'm glad I did because now it gives me something to do after this. So I'm gonna go into my program files then. So this, I'm gonna dig around in here. So it's in the x86 version, and then should just be in here somewhere. And here it is. So see, it's all the stuff that was other. No, you have the exe and exe config, but other than that, it's just everything that was included when actually making it. So last thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna uninstall it just to show that, and then I'm gonna go over the document for a second because I want to talk about that for a second as well. So I am going to go to the installer, which I'm just gonna open the other window that I have. I'm just gonna uninstall. There's repair as well, but didn't really need to show that off. So black screen of death for a second. It's going to configure it. I'm not sure why it was saying that. So, uh, program files. Yeah, couldn't see it's not in here anymore. So it didn't do that last time, and it didn't uninstall. So that's weird why it was saying that. I want to install and uninstall from here because, like I said, it is working, but when I was testing, it didn't do that, and when I was, you know, I've never seen that before, and while I was testing, it didn't do that. So I'm just gonna do it from here. Just gonna give it, and see, it worked fine that time, so that's kind of weird. I've never seen that before. another thing to look into, I guess, but it's gonna be hard if it was just a one-time bug. But regardless, I want to talk about the document as well. The last document I did was kind of scuffed. Like, long story short, it wasn't the best, and also I didn't realize when I had it as a doc file, it messed things up when I converted to PDF. So that was weird. I don't know why it messed up when I converted to PDF. PDF can think, I guess, think of it as strong. It's just going to be this, but permanent, quote unquote. But I want to say, I also made that in like Word, and basically the whole point was that I wanted to say that, with my, I need to reload this table of contents, but I'll just show that now actually. Boom, reload. Simple as that. Um, but yeah, I was doing everything correctly in the Windows. Like I was never, I'll do Control Z to fix it in a second, but I was never doing like that. But that's all to say that, I feel like it was mostly scuffed because I was just not familiar with Word. I'm more of a Google Docs guy. And I just wanted to mention that because I made what I think, no, it's not perfect, but it is a much better document because it's with a software that I'm much more familiar with. And I just wanted to mention that. And I think having mentioned that, that's the last thing I want to say for this. Uh, yeah, see you next time.